Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Josie Q here, and I've got some information about DLC 4. It's not been confirmed. There's nothing been said by Treyarch or whatever. But if you guys know, Play the Game Central, they know a lot about the next game, about every single map pack they've known, because they know about the next game, and they know that because they've got like friends over at Treyarch or something. Ben, that is on the channel, he's talked about it before. He makes these videos. He's got a couple videos out right now. Is Homo Ortum Mechanicae or something that's talking about the last DLC and the next game. So all that stuff's probably true. He's talking about Dark Baby, the Arc Baby, yeah, and then some other map. I don't know what it was called, but he knows everything about that. So anyway, he has a video on his channel. He took down the other 3 parts, but the 4th part of like Omnia Ambientis or something, if you look that up, and it's on his channel. His channel's Ben with 2 N's. In that video, he talks about, if you go back and watch it now, he talks about Buried, and it's funny the way he like says stuff about Buried that like you probably wouldn't catch before, but now that we've played Buried, it's kind of obvious. He also talks about the last map. So what I did was I watched that video like 3 to 5 times, and I went back, I found every little thing that he talked about, and I tried to decode it, because I'm pretty good at, decoding things and whatnot. So, if we go back, I'll just tell you about what map pack 4 is going to be. So, it's going to be taking place in Verdun, France. That was actually a place in World War I that had a battle in 1916, I believe, something like that. And at one point he said he mumbles 16. I don't know, so I'm taking that as a little bit more of proof. He does talk about how it's in a weird position. I don't really know what he means by this, but he says that because he's talking about it as it's like an investment. Like he talked about Buried, as his buying a house, his friend's buying a house. So he's talking about this one as a weird investment or something in a weird position. He mentions trenches, and he mentions like a trench in a village that you see or something. And he also says that it's a mental investment. And he often says mental when he's talking about this. And I know that, maybe that's just something that, that, like, he guesses a way of saying crazy. But it might actually mean something. Past that mental investment thing, he says he pretty much goes along the lines of saying it's a huge map. He says it's a huge, he said something along the lines of it being a huge map. But then he also went in weirdly. He said it was like, he pretty much said it was for disabled people. He was talking about how it'd be great for something disabled. And then he went on in that same like sentence or whatever he was saying. He went on to saying it was great for a legless worm. So that kind of, I mean, I decoded this stuff in a way, but I don't really know what it means. Moving on to some more interesting things. He says how there's going along the lines of saying, like this is an investment or buying some type of house. He talks about the big boss is at the top of the pyramid and food chain. That's what he said. And they'll take your money. That's what he said. He's like the big boss at the top of the pyramid and food chain. It'll take your money. He says that you could have sticks and stones to move around, but he also says the sticks and stones to he says that more than once to move around and help you to do things in the map. He says this one is very interesting right here. He kind of mumbled this in a way, but he said they're gonna bring back relics of the past. He said it so quickly, so slyly, and mumbled it in a way where you really wouldn't notice it. There's a lot of stuff in his videos that he's like, oh, okay, and he just mumbles it. But he says bring back relics of the past, and then he moves on to saying the weather's weird, thunderclaps to freezing. So that makes me think that they're gonna somehow bring back the thunder gun and the winter's howl, because as we all know, the thunder gun kind of shoots out a big like burst of like air, I guess, and the winter's howl, it freezes the zombies. And I actually really like the winter's howl. That's like my 2nd or 3rd favorite quote-unquote wonder weapon. I don't really know if it's considered a wonder weapon, but it was really good. Then he said it's great to go to France. That's why I know it's in Verdun, France, because at one point he says I think Verdun instead of Verdun. And then he said it's really great to go to France on holiday. So I don't know. Then he talks about getting a new car. and then he says it's going to be a 1964 piece of shit. So that could mean one thing. What it could mean is it could mean that we're getting some type of new vehicle for the map, kind of like we had in Transit, because he did talk about Transit a lot in his Homo Mortem Mechanici or whatever, and he talks about that and how it's, you know, it was something that was supposed to be a tank or something like that, and then now he's talking about a new car, 1964 piece of shit. So that could mean something. Then he, you know, he talks about how the big boss, big giant, he says like giant boss, he says it's gonna take your money. You don't want to just be left in the middle of a field. He talks about how he stopped eating cherries, which was kind of interesting, which meaning that they're not gonna bring back Electric Cherry, and I don't blame Treyarch. That was pretty crappy perk. I'll make a video talking about perks that are good and perks that are not good, and why they are and why they're not. He says that, you know, he can't digest the cherries, but, you know, there's gonna be some new drinks that he likes, and one old one that we remember and we love or something. So what that meaning, obviously, it's pretty obvious. There's gonna be some new perks, obviously, in the next map, but he said like a couple new ones, so there might be more than one new one. And one that we've had before that we love, meaning most likely PhD Flopper, which could have meant Buried. We got, you know, a new perk in Buried as long, and we also got PhD Flopper. And just to shout myself out, I was the first one to find that. I mean, people, if you found it, then you didn't post a video on it. I was the first one to post a video on YouTube of it. But moving along with that, you know, might be getting PhD back. Then he, like I said before, he talks about being in the middle of a field. You don't want to be just left in the middle of the field after those big boss get you. So that could mean that, you know, this big boss can, you know, if he kills you, you go to a field, or if you die, when you die, it like does the ending like zoom into a field or whatever. He also talks about how he also goes into David and Goliath. If you don't know what that is, David and Goliath was like some type of, was like a giant, and some guy killed him with you know, with a slingshot, I think, something like that. It was pretty simple, and he just knocked the giant down apparently. So he talks about just killing this guy with a twig. So I'm thinking that maybe more simple weapons can kill this giant. Maybe, you know, the more simple the weapon, the easier it is to kill him, or something like that. I don't know exactly what he meant by the twig, you know, like killing him, but then at the very end, like some of the last things he said was, you know, he's like said, it's almost quote for quote, he said, "End of story. You know, this will be a good one," or something like that. But he said end of story and something about this is good. So I'm thinking that, you know, this is gonna be like possibly not. I don't think it's the end of the storyline, but, you know, maybe it's the end of something that has to do with the storyline. Maybe like somebody dies. Maybe Maxis, you know, we find a way to kill him, or Richtofen dies or something, and maybe this is just the end of the storyline, or for these characters or whoever we're playing as. Or maybe he's just talking about the Easter egg and how this is gonna be a big good one, kind of like Moon was, satisfying. And yeah, he also in his Homo Ortum Mechanici video, he says that he helps. He went to this weird thing. Sorry if you hear like a buzzing in the background. It's like a bug outside or something. But anyways, he goes into talking about his doctor. He says, you know, he's helping him intellectually, and he doesn't usually help him, but at this time it seems like a legit operation. So what I could be thinking here is that, you know, before we didn't really want to help Richtofen because we thought he was the bad guy, but now it turns out that Maxis is the bad guy. He really was playing us. So maybe if we help Richtofen this time, because technically if you did the Richtofen side on Buried, then Maxis is not in control. So if or, you know, maybe if we do the, you know, even if we do the Maxis side on Buried, maybe there's a way to get rid of him. So maybe if in the new one, if we do the Maxis or the Richtofen, or if we do the Richtofen side, sorry, then maybe it's like a way for us to stop Maxis, or at least contain him. I mean, I don't really want to see Maxis get stopped and killed or destroyed, or, you know, whatever, because Maxis is a pretty cool guy, and you could probably learn a lot from him if, you know, if I guess this is sounding so stupid, but if we just sat down with him, talked with them for a little bit, then we could probably learn a lot from them. But that's obviously not going to happen. So, you know, it'd be really interesting to see, you know, what's going to happen in the Easter egg and the storyline, and where this map's actually going to take place, and if it does take place in Verdun, France, around 1916, you know, World War I time. So that'll be very interesting. I had my own theories on what the last map was going to be, honestly, but it's kind of pointless for me to make those theories now. I might even make the theory video still, but to me, I feel like it's pointless to make these theory videos when Play the Game Central has all of the answers, and they've already put out the videos telling you guys. They literally give you guys the information. It's just if you guys can understand it or choose to understand it. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make my videos, and if I do, it's probably not gonna be for this game. I'm gonna wait until after the DLC 4 comes out. Then I'm gonna start cranking out theory videos. I'm gonna have a theory Thursday, Theory Tuesday and Theory Thursday, where every Tuesday and Thursday I post a video theory about perks, maps, characters, and whatever, if that's gonna happen. And that's gonna happen until the next game comes out. So yeah. Also, I'm probably gonna start live streaming more often. Every Friday I'm gonna start. Lately, when I live stream, I haven't done voice because, you know, I still have to get everything hooked up and everything. But I'm gonna start doing voice on the live streams and everything. So yeah. Let me know what you guys think about the new map and what you think the actual name, like, cause you know, like Resolution 1290, whatever the hell it was called, 1295 or 12 something. That was the name of Buried, but we've got the actual name as Buried. So, what do you think Verdun, France? Like, what do you think the actual name is going to be for that one? Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, Play the Game Central, for the videos that you post and you know, giving us information kind of slyly. That really it's really cool. Peace out.